Hello everyone, this is Vortex. Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy I. In our last episode, we visited the remote mountain village of Gaia, and the good folk there told many interesting tales. We learned that the Faerie who lives near the town spring was greedily kidnapped, bottled up, and sold to the Desert Caravan. We also heard of an ancient race of people known as the Luthenians who dwell not too far south from Gaia, and these are a people who speak a foreign language. We also heard about a tower in the Yonikerm Desert that may be nothing more than a mirage, and also about the sky people who built floating castles way up above the Earth's surface. So there are lots of mysteries waiting to be unveiled to the Light Warriors, but today we will try to follow up on the lead of Gaia's Faerie, who was sold to the Desert Caravan. Perhaps we can find more clues on the whereabouts of the Desert Caravan and the Faerie by visiting another village that lies not too far to the east from Gaia. So let's go ahead and pull up our world map here and see where we want to go next. Now we're currently located on the Eye of the Hawk, and from here what we'll do is fly off to the east and actually cross onto the other side of the world map onto a new continent here, and the new village we want to visit is actually located right about there. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Now what we're actually going to want to do is park our airship a little ways to the southwest from the village, because there's going to be some forests that we're going to have to hike through in order to reach it. So let's go ahead and board our airship and start flying off to the east. And it's not going to take long at all for us to reach our destination. In fact, we're already nearly there. Yep, there it is. There's the town we want to visit today. So let's fly on off to the southwest here. Yep, lots of forest here that we're going to have to walk through. So let's just pick a place to park our airship. This looks as good as any. And we'll start hiking on off to the northeast. Now, there's actually one new enemy we can find in this area, and if I run into it, I'll demonstrate it for you. Otherwise, there are plenty of other enemies that I've already fought. So if I run into those, I'll just edit out those battles. That was a battle with 3 Wyrms, sort of a cousin to the Wyvern. So if you're looking for the Wyrm or worm type monsters, you can find them in this area. Okay, let's turn to the north here. And back off to the east, and then the north again. Remorazes also appear in this area, so if you didn't fight them back in the Cavern of Ice, you can find them around here. Alright, and the new monster I was actually looking for is called the Desert Beretta, so I'm sure I'll be running into it before too long. So for now, let's just go ahead and enter the village here. And this is the village of Onrac. That's an interesting name for a town. Well, let's just check this place out, shall we? Now, upon entering, if you go off to the north, you will find an item shop, and I believe you can actually purchase remedies inside this item shop for 1,500 gil apiece. Remedies actually cure status ailments except for KO, so if you've got the spare gil, a few of those might be worth buying. I may pick up a few of those a little bit later on. Alright, a little further to the east we'll find some people wandering around the town, so let's just talk to a few of them. Got a spiky-haired guy here. He says that Underhill fella from the caravan had something awful weird for sale. Alright, well, we're looking for that caravan. Looks like it may be nearby. And the owner of the caravan may be Underhill, so maybe we can find somebody else who'll have a little bit more information about the caravan here in this town. Well, let's see what this lady has to say. Wow, she's got legs and she knows how to use them. You know, I don't think I've ever met anyone so proud of their legs. Oh well, to each her own, I guess. And this guy says, you ever hear of something called Oxyale? Well, as a matter of fact, we have. I believe we heard about Oxyale back in the village of Gaia. Isn't that what fairies draw up from the bottom of the spring there? Well, we don't have any access to Oxyale if we don't have a Faerie, but maybe if we find the Faerie, Maybe she'll do us a favor and give us some. This old man says they say that the shrine sank into the sea 200 years ago. Now there are mermaids living there, or so the story goes. 200 years ago, isn't that when the Fiend of Water came back into existence? Well, we've got another spiky-haired guy here. He says Copy's been spreading some nonsense story about how he saw some shining thing fall out of the sky. Now wait a minute, didn't we have a lady who saw a bright shining light head off to the west from Gaia? And now we've got a guy named Copy who saw something bright fall from the sky. Are there UFOs around here? Well, if we go up into the graveyard, we've got another guy walking around. He says they say this used to be a beautiful village until about 200 years ago. Yeah, most of the people are now lying dead in the graveyard, I guess. Well, we've got a pirate here. Out of me way, son of a... I haven't been able to catch me a single fish. How am I supposed to keep food on me plate and in me belly? Well, I think he's a bit drunk. Well, let's head down to the southern part of town and check it out. We've got a couple of magic shops up here. Let's go on inside these magic shops and take a look and see what magics are for sale. We'll start off with the white magic shop. And here you go. Here's the rest of the level 7 white magics that you can purchase. We found the first white magic shop back in Gaia. Now here you can purchase the Null Death and the Hilaga spells. Now the Null Death spell will enhance the party's defense against death. Now we've already got 2 Protect Rings, got 2 of them on my mages, and I guess Null Death could be a bit more useful than the Diaja spell because it will enhance the party's defense against death, so I may go ahead and get that a little bit later on. And as you can see, I actually did a little bit of gil grinding before I started this video, but I want to save that gil for another purchase today, so I'll have to come back and get these new magic spells a little bit later on. But I did want to go ahead and show these to you. You've also got the Hilaga spell, which will restore a lot of HP to the entire party. That will definitely be worth purchasing, so I'll probably come back and get both of those a little bit later. Let's go next door into the black magic shop, and you'll find the Saber spell, which will raise the caster's attack and accuracy. Now if I purchase that for VV, that would just raise his own attack and accuracy when cast in battle, but I think that's a little bit better than the blind spell, which only blinds one foe with darkness, so I'll probably come back and get Saber when I have the gil for it. Hey, looks like another long lost relative of Matoya here in Onrac, and she says, are those legs really yours? Wow, the people in this town really have an obsession with legs for some reason. What's up with that? And if we talk to this girl, she says, my father's with the caravan. Right now they're over in the desert to the west. Aha, so that's where the caravan is. They usually pitch camp by the forest near the north of the desert. Alright, so now we know where to go in order to get to the caravan. So we'll just have to head west a little ways to find the caravan, it looks like. And we'll do that here in just a bit, but let's go ahead and talk to the rest of these people first. This girl says the Sunken Shrine is said to be filled with riches, silver, gold, diamonds, even tablets describing lost languages and civilizations, if you believe the legends. Wow, so we could get rich if we could make our way into the Sunken Shrine. And a tablet describing lost languages would certainly be useful. Alright, let's go on up here and talk to another scholar. He says, long ago an ancient race known as the Sky People used a language called Lufenian. My brother, Un, would always talk about it, telling me how he could speak it if only he had the Rosetta Stone. So, if we can find a Rosetta Stone, we can take it back to Dr. Un in the village of Melmont, and maybe he could teach us that language. So, it looks like it's all coming together here. And there's the inn right there, by the way. Lots of good information in this town. Hey, there's a dragon down there. What's a dragon doing in this town? Amazing. Humans have been honored by the Dragon King. Why, yes we have. Aren't we special? And going off to the east here, we can actually veer up to the east and north here and speak to a couple more folks. Another blue-haired guy. Ah, this is actually Copy. He says, "Hi, my name's Copy. You want to hear about the shining object I saw? I think it came down somewhere near the waterfall to the north." Oh, okay. So if we want to find that shining object, we'll have to head up to the north and look for a waterfall, it would seem. Something else to put on our to-do list. Copy says, "No one believes me, but I think it was some kind of mechanical creature." Oh, wow. So is it a robot? All kinds of strange things being seen here in the Northlands. And this old man says, 200 years ago, the shrine of Onrac flourished. It brimmed with the power of water. I ask but one thing of you. Please restore that power to its former grace. So, do you think the water crystal might be in this sunken shrine? Well, I think there's a pretty good possibility of it. And we've got a young maiden here right next to what appears to be a barrel next to the dock. Let's see what she has to say. She says, "I wanted to save the mermaids living on the seafloor, so I made this submarine out of a barrel. But when I went underwater, I started running out of air, and I couldn't breathe. It's totally useless. Even worse, it's dangerous. You'd better keep away." Oh no, so we can't use the barrel to go under the water if we can't breathe underwater. But there may be an item out there that can aid us in breathing underwater. Maybe that's what that oxyel does, Well, in order to get the oxyel, we're going to need to save the Faerie first, and that's what we're going to do next. And we know where we need to go in order to find that caravan. We need to head to the west from Onrac, and it's in a deserted area, so let's go ahead and pull up the map again. Well, I think I do spy a desert not too far to the west, and there's actually a forested area in the northern part of the desert we might want to check out in order to find that caravan. So let's just hike a little ways off to the west and see if we can make our way to that desert. Well, it's time to get our trusty rusty canoe out again and plop it into the river here so that we can cross over to the other side. And I think I see some burning desert sands to the north there. So let's just turn to the north and go through the desert, shall we? I think we're getting pretty close to the caravan. And as a matter of fact, there is a small forested area right there, so the caravan should be just directly to the west in that small patch of sand. So let's go ahead and inspect, and sure enough, we find the caravan. Looks like they've set up shop here all right. So let's go inside the tent and meet Underhill. Hey dude, you got any bottled fairies for sale? Well, as a matter of fact, he does, for only 40,000 gil. So that's why I took the time to grind for some gil before I started this video. I wanted to make sure that I had 40,000. Actually went back down to the Cavern of Earth and fought some hill gigas there on the first floor, and I earned enough gil in nothing flat. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase the Faerie here. Hey, thanks man. Appreciate it. Wow, a bottled Faerie. Hey, wait a minute. Hey dude, can I like have my money back? You like forgot to punch holes in the top of this bottle, so my Faerie's like dead and stuff. No, I'm just kidding. The Faerie's just fine. Actually, the reason I came back in here is because after you purchase the Faerie, you'll see that he has some new stuff for sale. You can purchase a Giant's Tonic, which will temporarily raise your max HP. Faerie Tonic will temporarily raise your max MP. Strength Tonic will temporarily raise your attack. The Protect Drink will temporarily raise your defense. And the Speed Drink will temporarily raise your agility. So some pretty cool stuff that Underhill sells there after he hawks off the bottled Faerie. So just wanted to show that to you. But we got what we came here for. We now have a bottled Faerie in our possession. So it's time to head back down to the airship, and then we will head back to Gaia and rescue the Faerie. So what I'm going to do is head back down to my airship, fly back to Gaia, and I'll meet you just in front of the town entrance. Well, as I was heading back down to my airship, I happened to run into the new monster I was looking for. This is the Desert Beretta, and Desert Berettas have very high attack power and pretty high defense as well. They have about 352 HP. So their attacks can hit pretty hard, and their defense is high enough to where it may take a couple of rounds to take it out. So we'll just give this a try here. We'll have Cloud and Lock attack. I'm going to have Lena use those gauntlets, and I guess I'll have Vivi use the Blizzara spell. So Cloud, with all of his might, only does 131 points of damage, and Lock only does 76. So you can see their defense is pretty high, but looks like Vivi's going to win the battle for us thanks to his Blizzara spell. And we get 652 experience and only 1 gil. Yay! The bestiary entry for the Desert Beretta can be found at number 76 in your list. And there you go. Wow, take a look at that attack rating, 98. Pretty high defense too, so all in all, this is a pretty tough little monster. Alright, well, I have flown back to the village of Gaia, so let's go ahead and step on inside, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and pop the cork off the top of this bottle, shall we? There we go. Okay, that was interesting. I guess she was really happy to get out of that bottle. Well, it looks like our little Faerie friend has flown off to the northeast towards the back of the town. We can only assume that she's gone back to the spring back there, so let's use our B button dash and run back there and see if she made it back there okay. We'll just run past the item shop here and our scholarly friend there. And the pirate. Oh yeah, the pirate. Hey pirate, we got our Faerie back. Thanks a lot for costing us 40,000 gil. Oh well, we don't want to mess anymore with the likes of him. Let's just keep running on back here. Navigate around a few trees. And sure enough, it looks like the Faerie has made it back home safely. And when we talk to the Faerie, she says, "You're the ones who rescued me from that bottle. I'm sorry about running away, but I was just so scared." Well, she sounded more happy than scared to me. "I'll get you some Oxyel from the bottom of the spring to make up for it, okay?" Yeah, alright, I guess. So off she flies. And she's going to dip into the spring and come back out, and she has a gift for the Light Warriors. We're going to obtain Oxyel for saving the Faerie from the Desert Caravan. The Faerie says air will flow out of that water for as long as you have it. Oh, very nice. So it looks like our fearless heroes will be able to breathe underwater now that they have Oxyel in their possession. And in our next episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I, they're going to be doing a barrel roll down to the Sunken Shrine at the bottom of the sea. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. This is your host Vortex saying, hey, have a great day, all. We'll see you again next time.